the ability to rush, but that's more kind of board control-ish. You know, it's not really swing face,
right?
Which kind of is at odds in some ways. I mean, would you have preferred to have Alwidas? Would you have preferred to have Alberts? You know,
right?
Not sure. And then for the Dragoncraft aspect of it, I feel like he just couldn't wrap up the early game. He didn't find an opportunity to play the Griffin Knight for a long time, for example. And by the time he dropped Forte, he was in a really bad spot. Couldn't really race.
And Noah is bringing the Vania to week 10. Not bad at all.
Incredible decks here. Noah, is he going Blood Sword? Is he?
He's got Goblin Mage.
I feel like he's a diehard Swordcraft player. So it might be just Blood Sword. And Limits is bringing Runecraft?
Runecraft, Algerb, a Mutagenic Bolt. Man, these are decks that we don't see every day. Certainly not in the NGE Shadowverse Open. I am excited to see exactly what's going to unfold.
Oh my god, it's the Daria Mutagenic Melvi. Well, to be honest, I don't know if Daria is really there, but I would assume.
It's a safe assumption.
We've seen deck lists with these cards. Specifically, there it is. That's actually really good. On the second turn, you pull Daria.
And you've got Magic Missile, you've got Levi, you've got cards to really get the spells in your hand as well.
Oh, and the Piercing Rune too, Levi and Piercing Rune.
And he's got a great turn 4 play. Evolving the Levi and then Piercing Rune on that same turn is going to be absolutely massive. But Noah, he's got the Baphomet, he's got the Mask, Spiderweb Imp as well. He's got the options as well. I mean, it's gonna be a tough fight.
All right. Blood Pact is it. And passing that turn, I think, really hurts Limits here, because that's going to give Noah quite a lot of momentum. And that's concerning. Noah's nearly putting himself into vengeance at this point.
Right. He is going to be able to clear the board here and keep the it is Snakes. Came up that last Blood Pact there. He's going to be able to clear the board and being able to do damage for some to face, and you get the Crimson Sorcery in your hand as well. We'll see. He might just play it. He's not going to play it this turn. I mean, that would put Noah right in vengeance on turn 5. But keeping Noah at 11 health, definitely a great play here.
Turn 5 at 11. Got the Enhanced Baphomet. That's going to pull the Snake.
Oh,
it's
the
a
Enhanced
5-cost Snake.
Oh, my gosh.
And the Baphomet evolves to give him a little bit of tempo here. Concerning. This is real concerning. Now, Mutagenic Bolt, great. Great against Snakes. Let's see how that interacts. How many Mutagenic Bolts does he have? How can he keep up with this? And the big thing about it against Blood is Blood is putting itself at lower health already.
Right.
So in terms of that race for the Flame Rats, you're probably going to lose out on that.
And Noah just like drawing out there, already having 9 cards in his hand.
Oh,
it's
boy.
a real difficult place that Noah's found himself in, especially when the spells are just ramping up that Daria even more.
Razory Claw. He's going to opt not to play the Snakes here.
And now he's in Vengeance, and he's got the Diabolic Drain. That would put him right back at 11 health, but then I would be able to take out that Ulger for sure.
So the interesting thing here is if Noah delays, you almost don't want to play Daria because you're throwing away your Mutagenic Bolt.
Right.
If you know that your opponent's playing Snakes, that's an option that you really, really, really want to have. 2 Darias in hand as well. This is getting a little chaotic. Decision-making has to be very careful here for Limits.
Yep, especially drawing into that second Daria. Not what the Daria player wants to see for sure. And he's not on a turn where you can even play Daria. He's got a full hand. The one Daria is at 7, the other's at 9. It's going to be real difficult. Do you get rid of the Crimson Sorcery? Do you use the Angelic Snipe?
Melvi, drawing cards.
Yep, and Noah was already at 7 cards in his hand, so Melvi did not give Noah any cards, but now Noah's at 6 health. He's got 2 Diabolic Drains. I mean, he could easily take out the Melvi, get some health back as well, put himself in a more comfortable position, but he's already in Vengeance, and he's got the 5-cost Snakes.
What a deck from Noah. What the heck?
Guess if you really want to make that Snake attack twice, that's the card to have.
So he can extend his life a little bit by playing the
Diabolic Drain.
Or rather
the Mask.
His amulet, yep. Right. I believe Countdown pushes 1 value for every point of damage you take to face.
He's got to get rid of that Melvy. He's already at 6 health, and the Melvy has got 6 attack. I mean, he knows he has to get rid of that card. Do you spend the Diabolic Drain? You don't have any Evolve points. Or Revelation. I mean, real difficult. Because even if he's Snakes, I mean, there's just Mutagenic Bolt coming out next turn from Limits.
And that'll kill you, right? Because then it passes to your turn, and the bolts just go boom, boom, boom.
Bolts go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep. 5 damage.
And then there's an Angelic Snipe and a Magic Missile waiting in the hand of Limits.
He plays the ultra defensive option here.
Get some health back and a very pretty 5 damage shield with the countdown. But there's Craig, there's Magic Missile, plenty of options that Limits has to spell boost those Darias down. But I mean, this is what you said. I mean, when you play the Daria and you don't have a target for the Mutagenic Bolt, you risk getting rid of the card and then not having it when the Snakes are going to come out.
Maybe, just maybe,
he's continuing to boost up here.
It'll work this time, maybe.
So it's really a game of chicken. Who can hold their options first? It's a little tough for Noah since he's at lower health, but he still has a pretty decent amount of healing. 1 evolution orb left on the side of Limits too, and there's not a lot of bursts that can come out necessarily if you don't have something like Enchanted Blade.
Right. But still, it's gonna be he's gonna play
Serpent.
Serpent.
Now he has a second iteration of Serpents waiting, and yeah, there are ways that he can control the situation here. Even if he does get Flame Rest, if he survives, right, that there are ways that he can play out. The question is, are you going to survive?
There's Mutagenic Bolt could be coming out this turn, but there's also
got
Daria
4 or 5. Oh
well.
no, the amulet is there, so he'd do 3 damage. That would be exactly there. Yeah, that amulet is actually doing a lot of work. Now the big thing is, it completely stops damage for 1 source of damage, right? So if Emilo did 4, it wouldn't spill over and do 1 damage to Noah. It'd do 0, and then the amulet would disappear.
Right.
Which is important.
Yeah, very important to note. But I think it's going to be the Mutagenic Bolt that's going to have to come out this turn to be able to just get rid of those Snakes. There's no wards in the hand of Limits. He's got no other way to really deal with it.
He could Mutagenic Bolt and Daria.
Right? Yep. The spell would bring Daria down to a 2 cost. Getting rid of all the other cards in his hand.
There it is.
Oh, man. Thinking about the Daria. It's only 2 costs for a 5/5 follower, but that gets rid of every card in your hand. But it also spell boosts the cards that come back in your hand. I mean, I think that's going to be absolutely massive. We'll see what the draw is going to be here. He's rolling the dice.
Oh my God!
Nothing to spell boost, just a bunch of spells and a Craig.
God. Oh, that voice line is
all right.
horrendous.
We get it. You're on fire. It's
that is just horrendous. Hungering Horde, not the most useful.
And there's a Revelation in the hand of Noah. I mean, that's massive. I mean, you can trade with the 4 rats, bring Limits down to 10 health, and then just clear the board, and he resets, and he still has a Snakes in hand if he wants to use that on the following turn.
Yeah,
he can Spiderweb Imp as well.
He's not sure. I mean, that could have been a whole bunch of Blade Mages in Limits' hand, so it's
You're right. You're right. Yeah, Noah has no idea, but getting the war, that's got to feel just a little bit safer.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
Oh, no. Still, that's
4 damage for 8.
Okay, he gets a spell boost.
Oh
my gosh.
Oh, he's trying to draw into options so hard right now.
Maybe, just maybe, this magic will help.
He still has plenty of. He's got 6 face damage total. I mean, if you evolve the Ulger here, then you get the full effect of really being able to reduce the cost of the piercing runes.
Yep.
So, oh man, saving that
Still
evolve orb
a very
is
dangerous
absolutely
situation.
Crucial. Very dangerous.
A second Revelation. Now, the interesting thing is because, okay, now there's a follower on board. that means that face damage is actually available, because as long as Noah doesn't actually have a follower, Piercing Rune nor Dance of Death can actually target anything. Oh!
There's the Blade Mage. He's got the spells for it, and the Evolve Orb.
Evolve, Blade Mage, double Piercing Rune, and then face.
This ends here.
Yep, that's it.
You'll be riddled with blades.
There it is. Daria Runecraft. Would you imagine that? And of course, it was probably the ideal situation for it to be played into.
Right.
Snakes versus Mutagenic Bolt is not a happy situation.
Very solid counter. No, definitely not a situation that a Bloodcraft player would want to find themselves in. But alas, it's going to be Limits taking the first game against Noah.
Especially kind of thinking about how that played out, where he couldn't get to snakes in an efficient way. I feel like there might have been a setup if he had been really well positioned to kind of play snakes, but also have the options ready to go kind of on turn 5. It's really tough because you have to play the Baphomet Enhance as well. I don't know.
And there were a few turns where Noah was spending the Revelations just to clear board to try to keep himself alive, to draw on the options he needed. And there was a moment there where I thought the tempo had really shifted in his favor, but spending that time, spending all those extra turns really just allowed Limits, the Daria deck, to draw into the options it needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. Vengeance Blood is super interesting just because it puts you that much closer. It's a risk-reward thing, right? Blood Moon is so interesting just because it is a skip your turn card, but it does provide you with Qualified Roar.
Man, what are these decks that we're seeing today?
Well, this guy is certainly breaking the limits of what we expected.
Hey, I like it. Not bad.
Noah is trying again. He's trying to make
deck?
snakes happen. He holds another snakes in hand, which that's not cool. It's not great.
Not on turn 1, no. You don't want Maelstrom Serpent in your hand on turn 1 for sure, but Limits not feeling too bad about his hand. Ivory Dragon right into Unica. He's got the 1 and the 2 drop. Plenty of time to draw into an option for turn 3 and 4.
Oh, and Blood Moon does exist in this deck. And that's kind of knowing that Blood Moon existed in that previous scenario, based on how the game was playing out for Limits, Blood Moon would have been the ideal drop.
Right. He's going to be able to spin the Hungering Horde here to take out the Unica, and he's set for Blood Moon next turn, which would reduce the cost of Diabolic Drain and mitigate the damage that Spiderweb Imp would be sending out. So setting up many plays further on down the line for Noah, and playing the 3-drop Amulet. Yeah, you're going to take another point of damage from the Ivory Dragon, but you know you're just going to be taking damage anyway. You might as well just get that Amulet on the field anyway.
So what's interesting, Noah has he has 2 turns left to draw Baphomet. And if he does, he's actually done pretty well for himself, getting all his combo pieces that he needed.
Right.
You are my ode.
Opts to play the Spiderweb.
And there's not even turn 4 from Limits here. He's going to have to pass his turn. Doesn't even want to attack the Spiderweb Imp with the Dragon there.
He draws into another Serpent.
He's still got 1 more turn to draw into Baphomet. So don't count him out yet. Noah's crossing his fingers. We'll see what the choice of play here is for Noah. He's got the Razory Claw as well. I mean, Ivory Dragon's not looking that threatening, but he's going to evolve the Spiderweb Imp here.
3-6 is nothing to laugh at in terms of reward.
No, that is absolutely massive. It's more health than a Rahab.
Razory Claw as well. Doing a lot of face damage.
And now they're both at 14 health. Limits does have Draconic Fervor here, 3 of them at that. Or the Sybil as well. I mean, the evolved Sybil.
Just barely get it done. Oh.
Interesting choice to play the Draconic Fervor rather than get the follower on board. Guess he wants to save until...
He wants the self-healing?
Right, yeah, save that until you're in overflow.
Another Hungering Horde in hand. There it is, and finally the Blood Moon comes down.
4 turns until he's out of Vengeance from the effect of Blood Moon. It's going to be the Sybil finally coming down this turn. He still has Ivory Dragon in his hand as well for that extra draw now that he's in overflow. Ooh, came into an Easterfill for next turn. Not bad at all.
Very strong options here. Serpents are very tanky, though. The AoE on Easterfill is certainly not going to clear them out, but it's still a lot of damage to handle.
Right, and there's a Bahamut as well in the hand for Limit. So if Buddy's only going to be on turn 9 next turn, I mean, if the Serpents come down this turn, excuse me, they're not going to come down this turn. He hasn't Baphometed them yet. So there's still a few more turns for that. So Limits is going to be able to have the Bahamut to take down the Serpents when they do come down.
Now he has Mask. He also has some removal. Hungering Horde and Diabolic Drain.
Yeah, being able to take down that Sybil and the Hungering Horde for the, man, massive value coming out from those 2 spells that Noah had in his hand.
Boy. There's some face damage down the road here.
There's some massive face damage. There are 2 Sahak whales as well, so he's got that option when there's followers on board in the next few turns for Noah.
Such a precarious situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, do you play Easterfield this turn? I mean, he's going to heal. He's going to overheal just a little bit, but that's still just a massive bomb that Noah's going to have to deal with. And there wasn't any pressure that Noah had on the board, so playing Easterfield, just getting the followers, saving the Evolve Orb too, still having that for the next turn.
It's not a great play. Ariette, just without any other card on the table, is obviously not the best spend.
Right. I mean, he's going to have to play the Mask, at least mitigating 1 attack from Easterfield or the Forte coming down.
Man, this hand situation just not quite getting there for Noah, I feel like. He got halfway through the trip, but couldn't quite close it out. We don't know the result just yet, but it's
gonna be real difficult to come back, especially only being on turn 7.
I mean, that's 12 damage from Israfil right there, plus you have Forte, so...
Yeah, the Mask is going to be able to mitigate at least 1 of the attacks. So Hawk Wheel is not an option. I mean, yeah, there's no followers to attack with the Bahamut that would be summoned, but still, I mean, this is, a real precarious position that Noah's found himself in. Yeah.
Yep. Can do 12 here. Gonna do 10.
Yep. Saving the Evolve Orb. He knows he's got the momentum. He knows he's going to possibly win the game.
Oh, man.
Man,
you can't, yeah.
Yeah, you can't deal with that. I mean, even if you evolve and take out the Easterfield, you could still, you can't take out the Forte. That could still just be evolved next turn, and that's going to be 7 damage.
That's just it. That's it. Limits, I think, is going to be moving on. Going to take down the Easterfield here. And he can't attack Forte.
Good job.
Good job indeed. It's going to be Limits moving on to the semifinals to face Kadeemer. Kadeemer X.
2 O's on the top end of the round of 8 bracket, and Noah bringing a Vengeance Blood deck with a lot of conviction, playing it twice in a row, saying, I'm going to win with this deck.
Right.
And I still feel like that's the big problem, right? It's so reliant. It's like a combo deck that doesn't have any kind of way to kind of fish out its options, as well as it doesn't have necessarily the base kind of cards that you would like to tide yourself over.
Right. But what's interesting is that, I mean, Noah's already going to be in the playoffs. He's already going to be in the finals. So showing up today, like, yeah, you want to earn those points, but you also want to feel out the competition just a little more. You already know you're going to be there, so you've got that safety net. So being able to come into the tournament again, trying out a new deck, I mean, like, that's really surprising to me. That's really, like, exceptional, I think, of, like, wanting to try out a new deck in a tournament format when you've got the free chance to try out in a tournament.
Let's take a look at the bracket and see. So, what this means